Jurassic, and today, guys, we made another anime review, and my review is to Fate Apocrypha episode 12, guys. Episode 12 of Fate Apocrypha. And guys, in this episode of Fate Apocrypha, first up, major reveals with Shiro Kutamine. At the start of the episode, we see a flashback with Shiro Kutamine. And we found one thing, that he was involved in the third Holy Grail War of Fuyuki. He was in the third Holy Grail War along with Darek Yugamiya. You know, the master of Dracula. Master of Vlad the Bad. And we found out he was there at the Third Holy Grail War, and we see a flashback of it. And the first things we saw in that flashback, beginning of the flashback, we see him walking down alongside a homunculus of the Ironsburn family. This homunculus of the Ironsburn family looks exactly like Irisville. There might be some differences, but to me, she looked like freaking Irisville. Iris Vine Ironsburn, the mother of Ilya, mother of Ilya. Saw my words again out properly. The mother of Ilya. And also the vessels for the Lesser Grail in the Fourth Holy Grail War, or the original Fate Stay Night series. And when I saw it, I was like, is that Irisville? Like, a bit of eye candy to Fate Zero there. Like, Fate Zero eye candy. It was like fan service for Fate Zero. Was like, oh my god. Like, impossibility that fan service was there just to represent that she might be there in the third Holy Grail, but I don't think so, because actually she was the Lesser Grail for the fourth Holy Grail War. I feel like this homunculus is a different homunculus. It's not Irisville. The reason why people might think it's Irisville, why I think I see her as Irisville, maybe because most homunculus that created by the Ironsburn look the same. They look completely the same, and that's part of the reason maybe why she looked like Irisville to me, because most of the homunculus look the same. And so I was a bit like shocked seeing a homunculus of the Ironsburns in the flashback. So it was not shock, but surprising it looked like Irisville. That got me shocking. But then while walking behind the members of the Ironsburn family, Shiro Kutamine walks past Darek Yugamiya, because as you guys know, Darek was originally part of the Third Holy Grail War, if you guys remember correct, when he's before. And we see some of the past of what Shiro Kutamine was going through, while Yugamiya was pretty much trying to capture, was stealing the Greater Grail. Now, as you guys know, last episode, Shiro Kutamine was able to attain the Greater Grail, and inside the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which is pretty. Still, that's pretty cool. But how the Gardens of Babylon can steal the Greater Grail like that, so it was quite interesting. Now, before we get into more information of Shiro Kutamine, before it gets to that part. The rest of that information is near the end, so before I get into that part of Shiro Kutamine, I have to explain the situation of how it led up to that point, when we found out this information about Shiro Kutamine. Before we get to that bit, Yugamiya, in other words, Darek, he appears on a higher floor of the Hanging Gardens above Dracula and above Vlad the Bad and Curran, Lancer Red. And he sees Vlad losing. He's seeing Vlad losing. So what he does, he forcibly uses his command seals to forcibly make Vlad use his Noble Phantasm, because you guys remember correct, Vlad didn't like using his Noble Phantasm, and now it was quite obvious, it's Vlad the Bad, Vlad the Third, Vlad the Impaler. We all know what his Noble Phantasm was going to be. His Noble Phantasm was being a vampire. He doesn't want to be recognized as a vampire. We all know he never wanted to be recognized as a vampire. So, before the command cell took fully into effect, even though it did affect him, before it took into effect, he was gonna kill. Before it fully affect, pretty much, it forced, with the command seals of, what you're gonna use those command seals, he pretty much forces, Vlad to use his Noble Phantasm. Man, sorry guys, my words are terrible right now. I'm stuttering right here. But anyway, he forces him to use his Noble Phantasm, which turns him into a vampire, and God! The thing is, he still keeps his sanity, and so he tries to force himself off, tries to force the command, to wipe out the command seal order, because as you guys know, servants usually cannot disobey a command seal order. Once a command seal is used, usually it means they have to follow what the command seal ordered. They are forced to follow it. In other words, they can't do anything about it. Usually, unless they somehow forcibly stop themselves from obeying that certain order, somehow. It's very hard for them. If they do that, they're going to lose a lot of magical energy. That's what usually happens when they try to force that off. But of course, we all know that Vlad never wants to use his Phantasm, so he tries to suppress and to cancel that order that Yagami does. But while doing that, he got turned into his Noble Phantasm, the vampire of Vlad, Dracula the vampire. And what he does is that Dracula, by the command seal of Yugami again, he orders Dracula to bite Yugamiya to suck his blood, so he can use his power, because vampires suck blood, gain power, we all know that. And then he uses the other command seal for something else, I don't know what he uses the other command seal for. He uses it, it looks like, it might be something to do with what he did then, to allow him to possess Vlad. After using his third command spell, he possesses Vlad. He possesses Dracula. He possesses his body. He now controls Vlad. Not fully, of course, because Vlad does try to resist and push Yagami out and make sure he can revert back to his normal self, not his vampiric self, his normal self. But unfortunately, he fails, and even though he still tries to resist, Yagami mostly takes most of control and controls the body. And by doing that, he also turned, and he goes berserk. He goes fucking berserk. I'm still wondering why fucking Vlad is not a fucking berserker. Because he sounds more berserker. But even though I understand why Frankenstein's monster is a berserker, because a monster, unfortunately, they are mostly classified as berserker more time. But personality-wise, Vlad is more berserker than Frankenstein's is. But that's what I said. That means, obviously, that just shows you Vlad does also have the potential of becoming the Berserker class. He had potential to become Berserker. So we definitely knew from this situation that's what he could have become. But God's sake, what Yagami did is that, after taking control of Vlad's body, he then attacked, not just servants, but he goes and attacks the homunculus that were with him, and by biting, of course, vampire thing. When a vampire bites someone, they usually get turned into a vampire themselves, and of course, that's what happens to the homunculus. And that's when the servants, both from the black and red faction that were there, fighting each other in the Hanging Gardens, they notice they have to form a truce, a temporary truce for now, so they can defeat Vlad, and Yargamilia, and that's what they. And after forming that truce, we also found that Joan of Arc was there as well. And by command, Silkers, ruler class servants, as they're there as referees, by the Holy Grail, obviously they've been given the ability to use command seals themselves. Because if you guys remember correct, I think it was like episode. Let's see, it's episode 12 right now, episode 10, maybe 11. Maybe 9, it's one of those episodes. But I definitely know it was one of those episodes where we got told what the royal class servant is there for. And they're there for being the referee. Because they're there because someone is breaking the rule. She's there because someone broke a rule of the Holy Grail War. And the thing is, when I heard about the royal class servant, I remember they're pretty much there as the referee. They're not there as to find the person who's breaking the rules, unless certain situations happen and they have to find the one who broke the rules of the Great Holy Grail War. And before she this information comes into more gear when it gets to Kira Kortamine, or to Shiro Kortamine's information. But before it gets that, she uses the command seal. First, try to block. See, she can stop Vlad from going berserk and not attacking. So she does use the command seal of the ruler class servant to order Vlad to stop attacking, but it ends up failing because technically he's not the one who's doing it. The one who's actually doing it is Yargamilia. So I think it's part of the reason why it didn't affect, because right now the body belongs to Yargamilia, Darak now. Because Darak, the reason why he possessed him, he went crazy mad because he wants to succeed the legacy that his family, his clan is dreamed for years, and he didn't want anything to jeopardize it. So that's the reason why he forced himself to possess. That's why he possessed Vlad and forced him to use his Noble Phantasm. But because he possessed it, I take it gave the body of Vlad some resistance to the command seals of Joan of Arc, the royal class servant Joan of Arc. Because as he's technically now no longer technically a servant, because he's now possessed by someone who was not a servant to begin with, he was able to block the command seal and it didn't work on him. So that's why, by the acceptance of the rest of the other servants, Joan of Arc used her command seal to order the servants to fight together as one and try to defeat Dracula. And they now start fighting Dracula. But then the problem is that the servants of the Red, which were that were there at the moment, was Karin, Achilles, and Atlantia. Looks like their masters ordered them to stop fighting for some reason, because they started raging in pain, like forcing them to stop fighting. But I think could be the reason why they forced them and used their command seals to force them from fighting, because it looks like they used all the command seals. Because if you guys notice, when Shiro Kortamine and Assassin of Red walked out of a room that had the other masters in, either dead or passed out in some of a drug room, because all that smoke that was going there looked like drug smoke. Like scented drug smoke, which also make them hyper and stubble. And again, if you take overdose of it, could kill you. And it looked like all the masters of those servants, those three red servants, either had passed or dead. But you can see their command seals are no longer there. Well, the marks of them are still there, but as you guys know, usually when they're like faintly gone, like that means they use those command seals. They're no longer there anymore. So looks like Shiro Kortamine somehow forced them to use those command seals to order their servants to no longer work in the alliance between Karin and Joan of Arc, mainly because and for some reason we still don't know. Because so after that delay, Yargamilia as Vlad was able to escape the united force of the red and black fractions of these servants, and decides to run off to find the Greater Grail. And following behind them was, of course, the only two servants that were still pretty much capable of fighting, was not stopped by command still, Karen and Joan of Arc. And while running there, they noticed that one of the defense mechanism of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were shooting at them, and only shooting at them, not shooting Yargamia for some reason. So what Karen did is that as he's an archer class, he tells Joan to go after Vlad, and as for me, I will shoot down this mechanism that was trying to attack you, and that's what he does. And Joan goes off and trying to find Yargamia. Now, once Yargamia got into the main hall of the church part of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, he noticed someone there, and obviously we know who it was. It was Shiro Kotamine. And what we found out is that Yargamia says, "How could you be here? You're supposed to be dead." Like, he says that, and that's one evidence of what we found out who could he be, because after he says that to Shiro Kotamine tells him that if you're able to survive, how can I not survive? He said that. But don't forget, Yargamia does say, "How can you be alive? How you can be here right now?" Because obviously Yargamia recognized him, and unfortunately, and then after that conversation they had, Shiro Kotamine probably defeats and kills Yargamia and Dracula and Vlad at the same time. He was able to purify him because, after all, we all know the vampire weaknesses, and unfortunately one of them is Holy Church powers. True fact, Holy Church powers can defeat vampires, which makes a lot of sense. If the cross can fucking defeat a vampire, anything that has got given holy demonacy, obviously will work on the vampire as well, and which of course, that killed Yargamia and Vlad at the same time. But before he fully died, Joan of Arc comes in, and she sees Shiro Kotamine killing Yargamia slash Vlad. And then this is when the information comes in. It looks like Joan of Arc also recognizes Shiro Kotamine. She recognizes him. And then we find out that Shiro Kotamine is also a servant. An ordinary servant. He's also a ruler class servant. And what we found out his name, I'll get back to his name. His name. Just a minute, just do that. Okay, his name is Amatsu Shiro Tosaka. Tosaka. I think it says Tosaka. I might be wrong. Might be wrong about that. Let me double check. It might say Tosaka. As you guys think, you know the names is terrible, so let me double check here. It might not say. Yes, Tosaka. Actually, no, not Tosaka. It's Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get the proper words out. Well, Tosaka. But pretty much, we found out that that's his real name. And seems like Shiro Kotamine is an alias name. Or, as he's also a royal cast servant, maybe the Shiro... this is something interesting. Like, he's the ruler class servant. A ruler class servant. And now it comes to the conclusion, how is this 2 ruler class servants? And this must be the reason why Joan of Arc was summoned, because the ruler class one was meant for this Holy Grail War, or the past Holy Grail War, precisely, because don't forget, he was also involved in the 3rd Holy Grail War. So it could be that Shiro Kurtamine or Akatsuki Shiro Tokurade, he's breaking the rules of the Great Holy Grail War, and because he's breaking those rules, Joan of Arc was summoned to stop him. That's why I think this was the reason why she got summoned for the Holy Grail. Why she got summoned as Holy Grail War. Why there is 2 fucking ruler class servants. And the reason why Shiro Kurtamine, I'm still gonna call him Shiro Kurtamine because it's easy to say that name of his. But the reason why Shiro Kurtamine is doing pretty much all of this is because he wants to remember it says it's salvation of humanity. He's doing this for salvation of humanity. Salvation of humanity. And if you guys also noticed, his backstory of what he wanted to do before he became a servant, he couldn't protect anyone. Like, pretty much, Shiro Kurtamine / it's pretty much exactly the same thing that Kurutsugu and Shiro wanted. Like, Shiro wanted to protect people, Kurutsugu wanted to protect people. So, the classic Emiya, technically, because even though technically he's not an Emiya, he's still Shiro in a way. So, you can say the Emiya effect who want to become the hero of justice, it looks like it didn't happen. It looked like it didn't happen for him, and yeah, something happened that made him become a servant. So, yeah. So, pretty much I think he wants to become a hero of justice himself or something. Like, he does say salvation of humanity, so in other words, he maybe wants to become the hero. He wanted to become a hero to begin with, so, and he somehow failed in some way, or he can protect anyone, so that could be the case. Why he's a servant, but that's what his, you technically wish you can say, his salvation for humanity. That's what Shiro Kurtamine's wish is the salvation of humanity. And the episode just ends with that. And discuss like that major reveal with Shiro Kurtamine, that he's also a ruler class servant, that for the things he's doing, why is he doing it, why he's betraying the Red Faction, why he's doing this, what's going on. And yeah, and it looks like Assassin also knows what's going on. The rest of the servants, they don't seem like know what's going on, but Assassin does know what she's doing. She seems to know what Shiro Kurtamine is doing, so that is something interesting to know. But yeah, and that's pretty much what the episode was pretty much all about. Now, animation quality looked fantastic, especially the Dracula scene, that looked fucking cool, and especially the execution of the killing of when Shiro Kurtamine killed Yagami and Vlad. Oh my god, that looked fucking cool. The animation for that looked fucking good. Loved it how that looked. And yeah, and that's all I've got to say. Anyway guys, that's my anime review to Fate of Apocrypha episode 12, guys. Hope you guys like Epical Channel fans today. If you guys want to send ML, guys, just down below. Magister, and yeah, and also if you want to become a Patreon today, my Patreon's also down there as well. Anyway guys, hope you guys like it. Comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye guys! Wow.